Fam, welcome back to the REI Wholesaling series. All right, one of the biggest things that we look for as wholesalers is seller distress. You hear it all over the place, seller distress this, seller distress that. You gotta look for seller distress because that's gonna tell you what kind of problem you're gonna come in and solve for your seller while they're in distress, right? So we keep seeing the phrase seller distress all over the place. You see it in scripts, you see it everywhere. And eventually we get wired, right, to look for seller distress. But what does that look like? Is it a seller crying? Is it a seller that, their car broke down? Is it, what does that even, mean? Seller distress, what does that mean? How do I fix it, right? What I'm going to talk about, I'm going to break down today, is going to be the 4 major types of seller distress, and more importantly, how to recognize it. This is your host and real estate coach, Rafael Cortez. You are listening to the REI Wholesaling Podcast, where every week I bring you the real-life case studies and strategies you need to level up your real estate wholesaling business. If you haven't done so yet, go to reiwholesaling.com. Again, that's reiwholesaling.com. Sign up and get free access to your Wholesaling 101 course. This free training teaches you step by step everything you need to close your next wholesale deal and start making big money now. When I started wholesaling, I was having conversations with sellers on a regular basis, and I wasn't really paying attention to the scripts. I wasn't really paying attention to reading between the lines, right? And I couldn't tell whether or not I could come in and help them out with some type of issue. A lot of times I would think like they don't have an issue, they don't have a problem. Their tonality was telling me something else, right? But every now and then you would get a verbal cue. And at the beginning, because I wasn't looking for this exact same stuff that I'm gonna break down for you, I was missing them left and right. And I didn't recognize seller distress. So that was a big problem, and I don't want you to have the same problem that I was having back then, right? So 4 major types of seller distress coming at you. Number 1, this is gonna be the most evident, right? If people are selling to us on a wholesale transaction, more than likely, they're not able to list the property on the MLS. Maybe they just don't want people walking through the house. They don't have the financial means to fix the property. They need, money right now or yesterday, right? So financial distress is going to be one of the biggest ones. Some of the things that you're looking for in your conversation to recognize seller distress is going to be the word foreclosure. It's going to be tax liens. It's going to be judgments, right? Also, if you found this particular seller in a foreclosure list, a tax lien list, a 60 days late list, it's going to imply financial distress. So they're not going to come out and say, I am in financial distress. A lot of times they'll even tell you, no, I got it handled. Everything's taken care of. I don't need help anymore. It's all handled. It's all taken care of. We're good. They're going to be saying stuff like that. But in reality, if they were good, they wouldn't be in that type of position, right? So just whenever you hear something like that, read between the lines and then cue financial distress. This is one thing that you can come in and solve. It's going to help you negotiate the price. It's also going to help you open different doors of conversation on what else can you tee up, right, as far as a solution for them. See, physical distress is going to be number 2. And again, these are not so evident sometimes. Physical distress is one of the most obvious ones. We're driving through a property, we see it's boarded up, it's trashed. We pick that list in a code violations list. By default, it's going to be implying some type of physical distress. Okay, you understand that physical distress is going to be an issue. There's going to be some, TLC to be done on that property for it to be sold market value. That impacts the way that you structure your deal, the way that you structure the offers. All right, fire and water. My background is the fire department, right? So I was always looking for fire damaged properties. Back then. I still had relationships in the fire department. They would call me up. Hey, listen, this property just kind of, went through this thing. There's a room in the back that burned. You have insurance stuff that kicks in and all kinds of stuff, right? But fire damaged properties fall right into that physical distress. If you're driving for dollars in a neighborhood and you see broken windows, you see the roof that's falling off, it needs just, some TLC or care. It's going to be physical distress. That's evident. That we can come in, we can fix that, right? An end buyer is going to come in and then fix that property. It's one of the most obvious ones. Now, keep your mind open. When we're going through the types of seller distress, understand that they mix and match. So one thing may apply to 2 or 3 of these. Number 3, circumstantial distress. This is the situation that's going on. Maybe the property's in tip-top shape. Maybe it's a beautiful moving property. It's good to be listed on the MLS. But you know what? They don't want to deal with it because they're in the process of getting divorced, right? Maybe they're getting relocated, not necessarily for work, but for whatever other reason. right? A lot of times, you know, so you have elderly people, right, that they need to go to assisted living. That's circumstantial distress. It's not going to be a timeline. It's not a physical, you know, type of distress. It's not even a financial type of distress. Circumstantial distress. So you start pegging these problems, right? As you go through the conversation, you start to recognize them, and then you can come up with better solutions. Again, it helps you build rapport when you really listen to what issues they're having, right? Probate is another circumstantial distress. Okay, and again, I'm just kind of doing 3, but I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And inside the REI Wholesaling Academy, we have scripts that help you dig into each one of these, right? If you want to find out about how to join the Academy, check out the link in the notes below. Just, you know, apply some critical thinking as you're going through the process of this and understand that most things fall into 4 buckets. Number 4 is going to be timeline distress. I added relocation and code violations here because I just want to paint the picture, right? These are timeline distress as well as circumstantial distress and physical distress on these 2, okay? So sometimes they're gonna overlap. So if you see a code violations list, just understand that that particular pain point has a couple of factors to it. If you have relocation in there, it's gonna be a couple of different factors to it. Now you have a timeline issue, and then you have a circumstantial issue. So if they say, no, I have, you know, no problems for you to help me solve, you know that it's not the case, right? Because you're reading between the lines. Train yourself to read between the lines as you're going through the conversations, as you're going through the scripts, right? And understand where those needs are gonna be falling into, right? Then of course you have vacants. Vacants are, they're always a timeline distress. There may be some physical distress on that because it's been empty for a while, but usually when you have vacant property, there's taxes that need to be paid up. If it's a landlord that has a vacant property, you know, they're not getting any income, right? So now they can be stuck in a financial distress. These things start to overlap, and the more that you stack, you know, those distress signals on top of each other, the hotter the lead is going to be, right? But for the sake of simplicity, just understand that there are 4 major types of distress in sellers. And as you're going through the process, I want you to think for yourself. Whenever they say something, I want you to think for yourself and read between the lines, all right? Where does this particular issue apply? Is this a financial distress issue? Is this a physical distress issue? Is this a circumstantial distress issue? Or is it a timeline distress issue? Okay? Now, when we start thinking that way, we can put the pieces together and we start thinking more creatively. We start thinking outside the box, right? That's what we have to do as real estate wholesalers. As real estate investors, we come in and we solve a problem. We can't solve a problem if we can even pick up what that problem is, right? So think about that. They do combine, so they're gonna be overlapping. You're gonna have the same, you know, the same type of situation or element that, you know, fits a couple of those distress signals. And understand that reading between the lines is one of the most important things to do as we're negotiating deals, as we're talking to people and having those discovery conversations and going through the process of recognizing seller distress signals, all right? Hope you like that. If you want to find out more, go to reiwholesaling.com. You can also download a free Wholesaling 101 course, as well as a couple of other assets. Again, that's reiwholesaling.com. And if you're serious about building wealth and generating massive revenue through real estate wholesaling, check out the REI Wholesaling Academy. Stay focused, you got this. Fam, thank you for listening. Every week I bring you the real, the raw, the mindset, the case studies, and the strategies you need to build your own successful real estate wholesaling business. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on real life experience and information that can make you millions. It's time to join the ranks of successful wholesalers and take advantage of one of the biggest opportunities that we have in our lifetime to generate wealth. So go to reiwholesaling.com. Head over to my website, again, that's reiwholesaling.com, and learn how to make big profits, make big money by finding, negotiating, and closing wholesale deals from your own backyard. You've heard the stories, seen the case studies, stop thinking about it, it's time to write your own. Again, head over to reiwholesaling.com, click on coaching program, book a discovery call, have a conversation with my team, and you might get an invitation to join hundreds of students throughout the country who are leveling up on a daily basis. The writing is on the wall. Hustle is a season. It's not a business strategy. Take action, start building a sustainable and scalable real estate wholesaling business, and join the coaching program today. I will catch you guys on the next one. Talk to you soon. Stay focused. You got this.